Sometimes in life, a single moment can ignite a series of events that can either make you or break you. My name is Katie, and I once believed that a masquerade ball was just an innocent night of fun. But that night led me down a rabbit hole of revenge, mysterious encounters, and choices that forever changed the course of my life. You might think you understand the world around you, but what would you do when confronted by a game far bigger and more dangerous than you ever imagined? This is a tale of deception, of a friendship tested, and of choices that still haunt my dreams. Dive into my world, where masks don't just conceal faces, but secrets that could either set you free or trap you forever. Join me on this journey, but be warned, once you're in, there's no turning back. So, my name is Katie, and this is my story. I swear it's just a business dinner, Katie. Robert's voice echoed in my ears as I stared at the photo on my phone. The image was grainy, but I recognized the intimate corner of La Petite Bistro, the small, upscale French restaurant downtown. There, in the dim light, sat Robert, laughing, his arm draped comfortably around a woman. She wasn't from his office. Hell, she wasn't from our world, a model perhaps, or some actress from those daily soaps he claimed he never watched. And that sparkling dress? Definitely not business attire. I felt a sinking feeling in my stomach, like I was free falling without a parachute. We'd been together for 5 years and lived together for 3. There'd been ups and downs, sure, but this? I never saw this coming. It's just business, I scoffed aloud to the empty apartment, feeling betrayed and stupid. A bitter taste settled in my mouth. Revenge wasn't something I believed in, but right now, it felt like the only language my broken heart understood. Pacing the living room, a plan began to form. The element of surprise was on my side. Robert didn't know I was privy to his little secret, and as I thought more about it, the perfect idea popped into my head. The annual masquerade ball, an event he'd been looking forward to for weeks. Robert had spoken about it endlessly, how significant it was for networking and for his future at the firm. If I played my cards right, I could expose him in front of everyone that mattered. Before the idea fully formed, doubt crept in. Am I being too rash? I wondered. Maybe there's an explanation. But the image of his hands on her waist refuted every hopeful thought. I rang Jenna, my best friend, and the sender of the incriminating photo. "I'm in," she said, before I even had to ask. Over the years, we had a shared love for classic revenge plots from movies and books. But this was real, and the stakes were high. She suggested we make it symbolic, a play on our favorite revenge tales. The more we brainstormed, the clearer the plan became. I would crash the ball, not as Katie, his loving girlfriend, but as a mysterious stranger, taking him through a night he'd never forget. The days leading up to the ball were a whirlwind. I feigned ignorance with Robert while secretly preparing. Dress fittings, mask selections, and rehearsing my alter ego's persona became my nightly routine. My heart raced every time I thought of the upcoming confrontation, both with excitement and trepidation. Is this too extreme? I often wondered. But the scene at the bistro replayed, grounding me in my mission. The night of the ball arrived faster than I anticipated. The grand hall was bathed in shades of gold and crimson. Ornate masks concealed identities, creating an atmosphere of mystery and intrigue. Robert was there, looking dashing in his suit. From a distance, I observed him, wondering how he'd react once the game began. "Remember, make him want to chase you," Jenna whispered into my ear. She was there to support me, dressed just as extravagantly, but she'd remain in the shadows, my silent guardian. My heart pounding loudly, I stepped onto the dance floor. The lights dimmed, and the haunting strains of a violin began. I moved gracefully, letting the music guide me, making sure Robert's gaze found me. And find me, it did. As our eyes locked, I could see the confusion and curiosity in his. I beckoned him with a sly smile and danced away. The chase had begun. As the night wore on, Robert tried again and again to approach me. Each time I'd slip away, leaving him more intrigued. He seemed hooked, desperately trying to figure out the identity of the mysterious woman who'd captured his attention. Every move was calculated, every glance intended to draw him deeper into my web. Towards the midnight hour, I finally allowed him to corner me in a secluded balcony, the city lights playing a muted backdrop to our impending confrontation. As he stepped closer, trying to peek beneath my mask, I spoke in a voice I hoped he wouldn't recognize. "Do you enjoy playing games, Robert?" He hesitated, then whispered, "Who are you?" With a deep breath, ready to reveal everything and bring my plan to its climax, I slowly removed my mask. His eyes widened in shock, trying to process the familiar face beneath the mask. But before he could fully grasp it, I quickly replaced my mask, maintaining my mysterious aura. "You didn't answer my question," I whispered, playing with the ends of the mask's ribbon. There was a flash of recognition, but confusion quickly took over. "Katie?" he stammered, but I wouldn't let him break my character. "Ah, names, so binding, so revealing," I replied in a playful tone, circling him. "Tonight, I'm not Katie. Tonight, I'm just a curious soul, wondering why men play games. Can you tell me, Robert?" He gulped, the weight of the situation slowly dawning on him. "This is about the dinner, isn't it?" He was visibly nervous now, his polished demeanor from earlier crumbling. "I saw an interesting photo recently," I mused aloud, looking out at the cityscape. "A man claimed he was at a business dinner, but it didn't seem like business to me. What do you think?" Robert's face paled. He opened his mouth, seemingly searching for the right words. "Katie, I can explain. It's not—" "Shh," I interrupted, holding a finger to his lips. "It's not about explanations tonight. It's about games, remember?" My phone buzzed then, Jenna's timing impeccable. The screen lit up with another picture, a close-up of Robert and the same woman, taken just hours ago at the bar adjoining the grand hall. "Looks like your business associate is here tonight, too," I observed casually. He looked genuinely surprised this time. "I swear, Katie, I didn't know she'd be here. It's just a coincidence." "Or another game?" I challenged, enjoying the upper hand. "How about this, Robert? A scavenger hunt. For every riddle you solve, you get a piece of the truth, and maybe, by the end, you'll understand the rules of the game you started." He nodded hesitantly. "Okay, what's the first riddle?" I handed him a small card. "Find the golden chalice at the bar, and your next clue will be revealed." For the next hour, I watched from the shadows as Robert frantically searched for clues, each one designed to lead him deeper into a maze of self-realization. Jenna and I had carefully planted hints around the venue, references to our shared past, and the trust he'd so easily broken. With every discovery, I could see him becoming more distraught, his confident demeanor from earlier completely shattered. Each clue was a reflection, a moment where he had to confront the duplicity of his actions. In the grand ballroom, beneath a massive crystal chandelier, he found the final clue, a small box with a ring inside, a replica of the promise ring he'd given me years ago. Attached was a note. "Promises are meant to be kept, not broken." I stepped out of the shadows, my mask still in place. "Game over, Robert. Did you find what you were looking for?" He looked defeated, the weight of his actions bearing down on him. "Katie, I'm so sorry. I never meant to hurt you. I got lost, distracted. But it's not what you think." "Then enlighten me," I challenged, eyes piercing into his. Just as Robert began to speak, a familiar voice interrupted. "Katie?" We both turned to see the woman from the photo, the business associate, approaching with a puzzled look. She was holding a similar scavenger hunt card in her hand. "What's going on?" she asked, her eyes darting between me and Robert. Suddenly, everything became clear. Robert wasn't the only player in this game. "Jenna?" Robert's voice cracked with disbelief as the woman removed her mask, revealing herself to be my best friend. I had to stifle a chuckle. In all the scenarios Robert had imagined, this was probably the least expected. "Hello, Robert," Jenna replied, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Enjoying the party?" Robert's face was a mix of bewilderment, fear, and realization. "Wait, this was all... Why?" Jenna stepped closer, her heels clicking ominously on the marble floor. "You see, Robert, when you play games with one of us, you play with both of us," I chimed in. "It's like a package deal, didn't you know? Best friends share everything, even revving plots." His face contorted, struggling to grasp the full extent of our scheming. But why would you help her? We had something special." Robert tried to appeal to Jenna. She smirked. "Oh, we had our fun, but loyalty always wins. Plus, you weren't that special." Robert looked crushed, caught between two women he'd underestimated. "So this was all a setup? The photos, the clues, everything?" Jenna and I exchanged a knowing look. "Well, not everything," I mused. "Your deceit, your betrayal, that was all you. We just brought it to light, in the most entertaining way possible." The atmosphere in the ballroom was electric. Whispers had started among the other masked guests, sensing the drama unfolding. Some took out their phones, eager to capture the moment. You both played me?" Robert stuttered, his confidence completely shattered. "Looks like the tables have turned," Jenna said smugly, wrapping an arm around me. "In this game of deception, we proved to be the better players." As much as I was enjoying Robert's downfall, a part of me still cared. "Robert," I said, taking a deep breath, "it wasn't just about revenge. It was about teaching you a lesson. You can't toy with people's emotions and expect no consequences." Jenna nodded. "We gave you a taste of your own medicine. How does it feel to be on the other side?" Silence enveloped the grand ballroom, the tension palpable. Robert's shoulders slumped, the weight of his actions pressing down on him. "I'm sorry," he finally whispered, genuine remorse in his eyes. "I never wanted any of this." Jenna scoffed. "Neither did we. But sometimes life has a funny way of serving justice." A slow clap started from the back of the room, gradually picking up momentum as more guests joined in, a mix of amusement and respect on their faces. I sighed, a mix of relief and sadness washing over me. Game over, Robert. As Jenna and I turned to leave, I took one last look at him. There he stood, alone and defeated in the center of the ballroom. A part of me pitied him, but another part felt vindicated. "Come on," Jenna whispered. "Let's leave the past behind and enjoy the party." Arm in arm, we walked away, our plan executed flawlessly. But little did I know, the night still had a few surprises in store. As Jenna and I moved through the crowd, the reality of our accomplishment began to sink in. We had successfully orchestrated the perfect revenge. A cocktail of smug satisfaction and lingering tension colored the atmosphere, making each step feel like a victory march. But as the initial euphoria faded, a nagging doubt began to crawl into my mind. Had we gone too far? The image of Robert, defeated and isolated, kept replaying. I was jarred from my thoughts when Jenna tugged at my arm, her eyes wide. "Look," she whispered, pointing to the far end of the ballroom. There stood a figure, draped in a dark cloak, his face obscured by an ornate silver mask. It wasn't the costume that caught our attention, but the fact that he stood next to the portrait Robert had commissioned, the one that had started it all. In his hand, he held a red rose, identical to the one Robert had given me at that cursed business dinner. "Who is that?" I murmured, the hairs on the back of my neck standing up. "I don't know," Jenna replied, her voice tinged with concern. "But he's been watching us since we entered." Deciding to confront the mysterious stranger, we made our way towards him. As we approached, he turned, his eyes locked onto mine, giving me an unsettling feeling. "You must be the star of tonight's performance," he said, his voice deep and smooth. "Your little scheme was quite illuminating." "Who are you?" I demanded, my heart rate increasing. The man chuckled. "A mere spectator, fascinated by the game you two played." Jenna stepped forward, her protective instincts kicking in. "What do you want?" He smiled, revealing a set of unnervingly white teeth. "Just to offer my congratulations, and perhaps a warning." "A warning?" I echoed, confusion and fear blending into a chilling cocktail. "Yes," he continued. "While you might have won tonight, be wary of resting on your laurels. There are bigger games afoot, with players far more cunning than dear Robert." My stomach twisted in anxiety. "Are you threatening us?" He laughed, a sound that sent shivers down my spine. "No, merely a piece of advice. Tonight, you reveled in the thrill of deception and revenge. But such games can be addictive, and not everyone you might cross in the future will be as easy to outmaneuver as Robert." The weight of his words settled heavily. While our revenge had felt justified, had we inadvertently set ourselves up for something more dangerous? The mysterious man placed the red rose on a nearby table. "Remember this rose. It's a reminder that every action has consequences, and the world is filled with shadows and secrets." With that cryptic message, he melted into the crowd, leaving Jenna and me stunned. The rest of the night was a blur. We tried to enjoy the party, but the encounter with the masked man had cast a shadow over the celebrations. As we left the ballroom, the early morning chill greeting us, Jenna turned to me. "Do you think he was serious? About there being bigger games?" I thought for a moment, the cold air crystallizing my fears. "I don't know, but one thing's for sure. We need to be careful. Our little revenge plot might have opened a door we can't easily close." Jenna nodded, hugging herself against the cold. "We'll face it together, whatever comes our way." And with that silent vow between best friends, we walked into the night, unaware of the adventures and challenges that awaited us. The days that followed were unsettling. Everywhere I went, I felt as if I were being watched. Every creak in my apartment, every rustling of the trees outside my window, every unexpected phone call sent my heart racing. "I can't live like this," I said to Jenna one evening. We were at her apartment, the TV blaring some random show in the background, its significance lost amidst our concern. Every moment feels like a countdown to something, and I don't even know what. Jenna, ever the pillar of strength, sighed. "We just need some kind of closure. We need to find out who that man was." But how? We had no leads, no name, nothing but a silver mask and a cryptic warning. Our chance, however, came from an unexpected quarter. A few days later, an ornate envelope landed on my doorstep. The front bore just one word: invitation. Cautiously, I opened it. Inside was a card with an address, date, and time. At the bottom, a sketch of a silver mask. My hand shook. The mysterious man was reaching out. I immediately called Jenna. "We need to go," she said resolutely. "If we ever want peace of mind, we need answers." The address led us to an old mansion on the outskirts of town. On the appointed evening, we found ourselves outside its grand doors. Taking a deep breath, we stepped inside. The interior was a mix of opulence and decay. Dusty chandeliers hung from the ceiling, their crystals catching the dim light, and worn-out tapestries decorated the walls. In the middle of the hall, surrounded by a circle of chairs, stood the mysterious man, still wearing his silver mask. "Welcome," he greeted, gesturing for us to sit. Hesitant, we took our seats, our senses on high alert. "As you've probably guessed, I have been watching you," he began. "Your little game with Robert was intriguing, and while it was entertaining, it caught the attention of people like me, those who play a far more dangerous game." I gulped. "Who are you?" He removed his mask, revealing a middle-aged man with sharp features and piercing eyes. "I am Lysander, and I represent a society that thrives on challenges, games of wit, strategy, and sometimes danger." Jenna leaned forward. "Why bring us here?" Lysander smiled. "To offer you a place in our society. Your handling of Robert showcased intelligence and resourcefulness, traits we value." My heart raced. Was this an opportunity or a trap? "And if we refuse?" Lysander shrugged. "You walk away. But remember, life is a game. Whether you play with us or against us is up to you." Jenna and I exchanged glances. This was bigger than any revenge plot. It was a crossroad, one that would shape our future. "We need time to decide," Jenna finally said. Lysander nodded, placing his mask back on. "Of course, but remember, the clock is ticking." Leaving the mansion, the weight of the decision pressed on us. On one hand, this could be an opportunity to delve into a world of intrigue and excitement. On the other, it promised danger and uncertainty. For nights, Jenna and I debated, weighed our options, and examined our desires. And after countless hours of introspection, we made our choice. Reaching out to Lysander, we decided to decline his offer. The taste of revenge, the thrill of the game, it was intoxicating, yes. But some doors, once opened, can never be closed, and we weren't ready for the unknown that lay beyond. Lysander respected our decision, and as promised, he let us walk away. Our lives returned to a semblance of normalcy, but with a newfound appreciation for the mundane. Years passed, and the memory of that fateful night at the masquerade and the mysterious invitation began to fade. But every once in a while, when the night was quiet and the shadows grew long, I would find a single red rose on my doorstep, a silent reminder of the game we once played and the choices we made. And so, as I pen down this account, my message is simple. Revenge might taste sweet, and the thrill of the game might be enticing, but always remember, every choice has consequences, and sometimes the price might be too high.